welcome to Eye on Paulsboro. Again, we are putting the show together by way of Zoom. So I am in my office. Irma is sitting in the mayor's office at his home along the beautiful Mansfield Creek. And Irma, it's a beautiful day outside. We just don't happen to be together, but this is how we're doing it for the moment.
The moment is Zooming and Facebook and you name it. It's it for now, John.
Yeah, and Irma, you're old enough to remember that you couldn't just pick up a telephone and dial, right? I mean, you had to get it. What was it? HA3 and what
yeah, Hazel. 3. Yeah. And many times years ago, the Bell telephone operators were on top of Bell cleaners, and you could talk to Rose Roberts. Walter used to call, pick up the phone, and say, "My grandmom's going to hit me," and Rose Roberts would plug him right into his grandmother on Nassau. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect. And now we're like the Jetsons. So that being said, Irma, we've got we're allowed to go a little over the usual time format. We had already recorded an interview with the Mayor of Paulsboro, who you know personally happens to be your son.
Yes.
Had so much catching up to do. So this program a little different because we usually don't do long interviews, but in this case, we've got a really good segment with the mayor we think you're going to enjoy. Then Amy has been advocating for a program in Paulsboro involving feral cats. So she and Fred picked up an interview with that. So we'll have that. And then we'll come back and close with community notes. So it should be an interesting program. So we'll have a commercial break and we're going to be back. And the first up will be the Mayor of Paulsboro. It's a longer interview, but I think you're going to find it very informative. And we will see you after the commercial break.
Okay.
Multi-policy discount. Paperless discount, paid in full discount, homeowners discount, safe driver discount, chipmunk family reunion, someone stole the nuts, squirrel jail, justice.
Countless discounts. Now that's progressive. Call or click today.
Thinking about a new appliance or an LCD TV? Don't think twice. Think Weiss. Weiss True Value has a full line of LCD TVs plus a great variety of appliances. And of course, hardware items like True Test paints, Master Mechanic tools, electrical supplies, key duplicating, and Rug Doctor rentals. And for repairs on screens and windows, look no further. Weiss True Value, from making keys to selling appliances and LCD TVs. Don't think twice. Think Weiss. 39 West Broad Street, Paulsboro.
For everything, there's a season, and a time for everything under heaven. A time for sharing, a time for caring, a time for remembering, and a time for parting. When that time arrives, let Beth McBride Foley and Thomas D. Foley at the McBride Foley Funeral Home help you in your time of need. Offering a wide variety of funeral services from cremation to traditional, McBride Foley Funeral Home has been helping families with the loss of a loved one with over 50 years of combined service. McBride Foley Funeral Home, 228 West Broad Street, Paulsboro.
And welcome back to Eye on Paulsboro. As I mentioned, this program's coming to you by split screen. We're going to visit with Mayor Gary Stevenson. He is in his den at his home. I am at Hill Studio, and as most of you can see, I finally got a haircut, which was quite a relief. I thought about keeping it long, but couldn't get anybody to style it correctly. Mayor Gary, we have not visited for a while, just haven't been in a position to get the show together. So you and I have got a lot to talk about, because a lot's happened. I mean, and normally we're wrapping the show up now for the season, getting ready for the 4th of July parade to close it out, but no 4th of July parade here, no 4th of July parade in Woodstown, no 4th of July parade in Pittman, no 4th of July celebration in Philadelphia, no 4th of July parade in Gloucester City. These different times have really changed a lot of things. Gary, people would question why we're not having it when other things are happening, but we couldn't get the parade together.
Well, John, first, thank you for having me on, and you look good with your haircut. I didn't shave, so boy, am I going to catch heck from some people. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you know, we would love to have had the parade. But at the time, we had to make a decision on canceling. We couldn't wait till July 3rd to make the decision. You know, there's bookings, there's other people worried, there's the governor's edicts on which way to go, yes, no. So we had to make a decision, and we erred on the side of caution. And bands couldn't come. You know, there are a few of them because they wear masks. They're not going to play saxophones with a mask on. Somebody gets sick. It's just we just need to be safe and prudent through all this. We'll get all through this like you always. We'll get through all this, and you know what? We'll have a bigger and better parade next year. But we got to err on side of caution.
Gary, I don't think there was any choice, frankly.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing. We're always disappointed for the little kids because they get to decorate their bicycle, but it's better having people be healthy. And like you said, we're going to regroup, and there'll be another time for another parade. I've got a nice list here to work with, so we'll probably letting people know. We'll probably break this interview for a commercial and then come back. But Gary, let's pick up. You continue with an aggressive plan and taking away buildings that can't be renovated. You're just coming through a series of 3 demolitions. Tell us about the addresses and the details, because this is really good news for these neighborhoods.
Yeah, John, and if anybody knows me, my number one goal, and we have a lot to do in town, obviously, but my number one goal is to rid this town of all these dilapidated houses, buildings. And I say this time and time and again, they do nothing but breed filth, crime, and every bad thing that can go along with an empty building. I know well, I got one up to the street here. I just had to get some squatters out before that turned into a nightmare. We turned down 3 of them. I believe 2 on Washington, 1 on Buck Street. Long-time eyesores that were just bad for the neighborhood. The neighbors came out. They were so happy. It was just time for them to come down. Trust me, if we could have any way, shape, or form rehab them, we will. But working with my solicitors and my administrator and my council people, we went aggressively after these owners, non-owners, banks, and we basically threatened them. And we acquired in rem foreclosure these properties, whatever it might have been, and we were acting on that. And John, I'm happy to say, with money that we sold some of these lots, we're going to tear down 2 or 3 more by the end of the year.
It's simply good. It's simply good progress, because you can't, you got to let the sun shine in. And as you said, these lots are going to open up. It's immediate relief for the neighborhoods. It's a big deal. And I think we have to sit down and compare notes. I think you either have torn down more houses than I did when I was mayor, or you're certainly close enough that you're going to surpass me. My reputation as demolition mayor is going to be, the mantle's going to be transferred over to you. Gladly, I might add. Gary, let's bounce around a bit, because we're not, Paulsboro is sort of a microcosm. I've always said it, of a bigger city and of bigger things. And Paulsboro and Gibbstown communities came together for a unity march in the Black Lives Matter large public voice. You participated, Irma participated. I jumped in as a pastor studio. Frankly, I thought it was a little bit emotional when the group from Gibbstown met the group from Paulsboro right at Billingsport Road and moved over to Plaza. What was your take? Because I thought it was very positive.
John, I thought it was very positive. And the first I want to thank all my residents, because look, when you start watching the news and you see places burned down for whatever the reason it may be, and we, after we just got a new Save-A-Lot, and my heart was just thinking, oh gosh, please don't let this happen. But my residents came to the forefront. They were out in front of the police building, a whole group of them. They protested. They expressed their feelings, but nice, calm matter. They were. Our police chief bought them pizza, and it was nice discussion, and that led into the march a few days later. So a big thank you to everyone that kept our town safe. But they had a point to make. And John, I was privileged to speak, and I told everybody, you're here. You're protesting something that is dear to my heart and your heart and a lot of people's hearts of what's going on in this country. But you can't sit there and protest today, walk down the street, hold a sign, and then you just disappear and wait for the next issue to happen, whatever it may be. And I think we got a good group in this town, a good group from Gibbstown. I want to thank all their residents for joining up with us. I had a bum knee, so I was way back with my cane. So I didn't get to see that actual, but at the plaza, to see everybody holding hands, praying, kneeling, whatever it might have been, it was peaceful, but it was very spiritual. And, I believe it's going to continue, and I've offered my services to help wherever we can. In fact, I got a meeting coming up with one of the gentlemen. So it was emotional, and I was proud to speak to them. And I said, if you're just going to be here and walk and then you leave and never help again, then you shouldn't even be here. And I think everybody got that message loud and clear.
Yeah, Gary, one of the privileges of living in a place like Paulsboro is we were never insulated from life. And, as I walked along, as you did, I just saw my neighbors' faces and was reminded that what they carried in their heart should be touching all of us. And that was done in the right way, because it was impactful. And as you said, it wasn't distracted with any of the screwballs. It was just simple. It was emotional, and it was heartfelt. And, it just, these small towns can be very special places when the right leadership is in place, and that includes yourself. Let's bounce around. We're going to do one more piece, and we're going to do a commercial break, because there continues to be good news, and I don't mean to just pass things by lightly, but you've got an announcement to make on the Wells Fargo Bank building next to the library, which looks spectacular at this point. Why don't you pick it up?
Yeah.
Because
we'll do. And a big thank you to you for helping tear down the old Lee house. That was a huge eyesore, especially with the pots and the pans and the couch out on the front thing. That became a nice lot, a vacant lot. And now, we're the Wells Fargo driving bank, or whatever you want to call it, years ago. They moved out years ago, and it's been vacant, and we don't want to see that. The Dollar General people contacted me about, they're very interested in putting a brand new store in there. I was on the phone with them a couple of days ago. They're coming to the planning board with their final plans, and it's going to complement that whole area. It's not going to be one of them drop corrugated box stores. They are going to make the facade match the Gill Library, which is a beautiful building. They're going to fence in around that whole lot and help us landscape it, that vacant lot where the Lee house is. And they're going to be good neighbors to us and good business, and they're going to give jobs. But it's so good to see, we never want to see a bank go away or something, but nothing was going to go there. And it would become a torn down building, a dilapidated building again. Here we got a brand new building coming in. They couldn't save that building. It's tri-level in many ways. It cost them a lot to do it. But they're going to put a beautiful building in there, and another step forward for Paulsboro and bringing in a business. And, along with the plaza, with the Dollar Tree, Bob Newton's doing good with the Save-A-Lot. I got good news that they're going to be soon tearing down the old Grants building and the old Photomat, and that should happen by the end of the summer. So, John, we're seeing great things on Broad Street.
Yeah, and at the library, Gary, you talked about the design to complement that. That was a good catch on your part to make sure to make that request, because otherwise they would have just dropped in, like you said, just a standard box. So complementing that library is going to bring that into town, because I think Jacob's Pizza is doing well. The library looks good. Glorious Light Ministry across the street. They're just wonderful people. So it's going to uplift it all. Now, Gary, let's take a break here. Let's get a commercial in. We're going to come right back and continue to visit with Mayor Gary Stevenson, catching up on a number of points. So stay with us. Quick commercial. We'll be right back as we visit with the mayor.
Life is a journey that we travel with a lot of uncertainty. When your family is faced with change and you're in need of understanding, direction, honesty, and professionalism, we at the Landolfi Funeral Home have a tradition of assisting you with all of your needs in any way that we can. We offer many affordable funeral services. Please feel free to call us with any questions you may have, or visit us at www.landolfifuneralhome.com.
Rizzo Family Chiropractic Center in Gibbstown offers pain relief with a difference. Using specific chiropractic adjustments, Rizzo Family Chiropractic will get to the root of your problem quickly. Bring your headaches, neck, back, joint, or limb pain to Dr. Karen Rizzo. If you have recurring pain, chiropractic can help. Rizzo Family Chiropractic can relieve many sources of pain without extended treatment and ongoing therapy. Give your family the gift of caring professional pain relief with a difference. Rizzo Family Chiropractic.
Come on down Route 55 to the Millville Airport. Visit Smith & Jackson Military Antiques and Firearms, a gun shop with a woman's touch. Buying, selling, and trading firearms and military items, especially seeking World War II, German, Japanese, and American items. Buying single items or entire collections. That's Smith & Jackson Military Antiques and Firearms at the Millville Airport, 21 Peterson Street, next to the Glasstown Brewing Company.
And welcome back again. We continue with our visit with Mayor Gary Stevenson. It's a much longer segment than we normally do, but we just haven't been in real good rhythm with the show, mainly because of my schedule, trying to understand the Zoom stuff. And so this is valuable time to catch up with the mayor. We're coming into the early summer. Gary, we're covering a lot of things, but you wanted to go back because tied to the demolition projects is new open lots and existing open lots. And I know you've been working very hard to get someone in to develop some of these lots with the appropriate housing for those neighborhoods. Why don't you pick that up and tell us where?
Thank you, John. I just wanted to mention that, I don't want to tear down buildings just to have vacant lots because all they're going to do is collect trash and whatever else. So, it's been a tough road, but we feel we found a developer who is now working with us, is signing an agreement to build some houses where we have already torn down. And some of them will fall under the county with the affordable housing and some will be just, regular homes for regular mortgages and such. And I've been working with our local banks, Fulton Bank, directing some of these folks to getting very low first-time home buyer rates and tax abatements and, all of us working as a team. But I want to mention that, we're not leaving these lots vacant where we can. We actually got an agreement. We're going to be building 2 homes on Dayton Avenue, 1 on Beacon. We got something in the center of town set up. So the rest of this year is going to look really good as far as developing some of these vacant lots.
Yeah, great. It's great progress because I don't have to tell you, where home ownership can occur, the town is stronger, and that's a long bone of contention. And coming out of this pandemic and people's household incomes being challenged, there's a lot of uncertainty as to what's going to happen. So these initiatives are going to pay real dividends. I'm looking down at this list because there's just lots of stuff to go over. One of the, and probably this is something that I guess I can help lead on. Many people saw there was an announcement by the state of New Jersey, the governor's office, for a new, what was called a logistics port down at Lower Alloways Creek, which is going to be adjacent to the nuclear plant facility. And that is tied to make New Jersey the center for offshore wind to serve the North Atlantic all the way down into Virginia. And many people, Gary, had said, well, what does that mean for the Paulsboro port? Because there's been talk about things coming related to the wind industry. So it's a good spot to work this in. As I reported to you, that initiative by the state is meant to complement what would happen upriver, which means Paulsboro, and possibly stuff in Rapano, because that's being developed by a private concern called Fortress. But the announcement of the facility in Lower Alloways Creek is intentional because that facility does not have any bridges for ships to go under. So some of the components that will work offshore that have to leave standing up, they're so tall, they won't fit under the Commodore Barry Bridge, and they won't fit under the Walt Whitman Bridge if it were even to be further north. So that is really going to complement what happens upriver. So I want, Gary, just you and I had a brief conversation on it, but works into this about the general circumstances of what we're hoping is going to come to town. Because that Paulsboro port, the progress there, we'll do it on the next show maybe. The next third of the wharf is going to be delivered and complete by September, and then the last leg will be probably about 8 months behind that. So big things are happening there. But for those who were concerned that announcement about Lower Alloways Creek meant something was not going to happen in Paulsboro, that's not the case. It's designed to complement, because the idea is for New Jersey to be the true Silicon Valley of offshore wind. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, by the way, because the stuff can be very fluid. Now, that being said,
and hence my housing project is somewhat based on those port jobs, and thank you for the update in that. Hey, get some of these houses. There's nothing better than living an eighth of a mile from where you work. I did it for 30 some years at Mobile. Get people into these houses. They got good jobs, close jobs. Everything works together.
Gary, let's dovetail into that, because the state of New Jersey has put money into infrastructure for rail that's going to allow these trains to go directly from the bridge next to your house, the new bridge, and cut through railroad construction's property into the port. So all this dissecting of the town with these trains is going to end. You talked to Jim D'Aloisio, I think, more recently than I did. I know the work has been let, and he's been chosen as the contractor, which makes a lot of sense. Why don't you update people on what the status is there?
Yeah, and thank you, John. I talked to the head of the railroad construction folks, and they went out to bids. Their bids were awarded. And once again, folks, this is if you come over the railroad bridge into Paulsboro, instead of these trains going to the port, they would have to go all the way across town and literally make what we call a K-turn. That means they block the town and they got to go by St. John's School, which puts kids at risk. And now they're just going to make right at my house, they're just going to make a right-hand turn right through the railroad construction land and go directly to the port. So as far as the port trains go, and I'm hopefully in the future it's going to be a lot more than what there is now, which is a lot, that, it's going to make everything safer. That's one less long train going through the middle of town. Look, we can't do much about the refinery trains. They provide a lot of jobs, but in this case, it helps all the way around everybody. So, like I said, the only one who doesn't benefit that is me. They still got to go buy the one house in town that's mine. But hey, I'm willing to put up that because it makes everything safer. The more trains that go by there, the better, because that's more jobs. So Jim advised me that they are just finalizing an issue with a utility company, and they're looking to start. The last I heard was right in September they're going to start. It won't take that group unit. We've worked with them, John, long to put that big turn in through their property.
Okay, and because all the materials have been delivered, and for clarification, that is a Conrail project funded 100% by the State of New Jersey Department of Transportation to support this port development. So the Transportation Trust Fund money that we all pay when we buy a gallon of gasoline, this is a project funded directly by that. And as Gary said, there's safety issues. Plus, the trains can move in a more seamless fashion. Hopefully, they're a little bit quieter because those houses have to listen to banging, and hopefully that's the way. Gary, let's close out. Let me see. We've covered a great deal of stuff here. And now on an issue that people will wonder what's going on, and maybe you'll give us a report of the police department activity, only because I saw on the municipal website there was clarification. Shooting fireworks into the sky is not legal in New Jersey. What's legal in New Jersey are ground displays like sparklers. But it seems to be a national craze at the moment across this country of people having fireworks displays out of nowhere. So it's been wild.
John, I was talking to a few mayors on a conference call the other day and about this stuff, and we all are having the same issue of major fireworks. And I don't know if it's tied in because they made them legal. You're right. And one guy says, well, bottle rockets are safe. No, they weren't, because that business I work out in the middle of town had them all over the roof and all over the property. That could burn a business down, these bottle rockets. But it's happening in every part of our town, John. It's not one section or another. I talked to a councilman in Gibbstown. They're having a ton of issues. I don't know what has made this like Gloucester County, the fire capital or fireworks capital of the state. I don't know. It's happening all over, and I don't know what the issue is. But, you know, M80s, quarter sticks, mortars, folks, they're not legal. And there's people you're scaring a lot. There's animals you're scaring. Look, set off the little fireworks, set off the sparklers, you know, watch it on YouTube, a fire. We'll go to Woodbury when they have theirs, but please, we got to be safe. I just read an article where a guy practically blew his hand off in Washington Township.
Oh, Gary, and that's a very good message. That stuff, they're not legal. I don't know if people suddenly have more money because unemployment's running real well and everyone's decided. But you know, some of that stuff's expensive. I'm watching major explosions behind the studio.
I don't know if they used their stimulus checks or like a guy came in with a tractor trailer with a whole bunch of them just to sell. But in my 61 years, and look, I set them off when I was young. We all have, but it's every night of the week at all times of the hour. And my police force can only do so much. Look, people are on the police department. They set them off and they run. It's just not an easy thing to police. We're doing our best. We're putting a whole lot of extra crews on this weekend, but it happened the other night on a Tuesday night or Monday night.
Gary, it is from Manhattan to the smallest towns in this country are seeing an explosion. No pun intended with the use of fireworks. All right, and Gary, thank you. We've had a long segment. It's been a good segment. We've had footage underneath. We're really grateful to you for taking time to 8 o'clock at night. No, it's later now, but a long segment, but an informative one. A lot of progress in a lot of places and a lot of hard work, by the way. So thank you. Public servants don't get enough recognition. But there's just a lot of progress, and we just got to continue to look forward and not look backwards. So
I think, John, you know, my first 4 years in our administration and working with my wonderful council people and workers that I have, you know, we were kind of just, how should I say, righting the ship. But now the ship's starting to move really good. Not to say everything's perfect in this world, and we don't know what budget. You know this as well as I do. Next year could be a whole different with taxes not paid and we don't know the fall coronavirus thing. But I want to thank everyone that's worked with me. It's just not the mayor, but they work with me on things. And I just got an email from a girl just now who wants to take one of the vacant properties where a house can't go, and she wants to plant a community garden. All positive.
That's very good. Gary, that's a real good note to close on. Thank you. We're going to take a commercial break, and we will be right back. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Multi-policy discount. Paperless discount, paid in full discount, homeowners discount, safe driver discount, Chipmunk family reunion. Someone stole the nuts. Squirrel jail. Justice.
Countless discounts. Now that's progressive. Call or click today.
Thinking about a new appliance or an LCD TV? Don't think twice. Think Weiss. Weiss True Value has a full line of LCD TVs plus a great variety of appliances. And of course, hardware items like True Test paints, master mechanic tools, electrical supplies, key duplicating, and rug doctor rentals. And for repairs on screens and windows, look no further. Weiss True Value, from making keys to selling appliances and LCD TVs. Don't think twice. Think Weiss. 39 West Broad Street, Paulsboro.
For everything, there's a season, and a time for everything under heaven. A time for sharing, a time for caring, a time for remembering, and a time for parting. When that time arrives, let Beth McBride Foley and Thomas D. Foley at the McBride Foley Funeral Home help you in your time of need. Offering a wide variety of funeral services from cremation to traditional, McBride Foley Funeral Home has been helping families with the loss of a loved one with over 50 years of combined service. McBride Foley Funeral Home, 228 West Broad Street, Paulsboro.
And welcome back. For the not on many occasions, Irma's off to the side. I'm going to read from a script, but Amy put together some notes on this particular piece we're going to see next, because Amy and Fred grabbed this segment for us. I'm going to read it. It's just very simple. It says, in a socially distanced manner, Fred and Amy caught up with Dawn Frenza from A Voice for Paws. She's in town planning the Trap-neuter-vaccinate-return event. The event is just wrapping up. 82 cats were trapped, neutered, vaccinated, and returned. In addition, 4 cats that were trapped were already fixed and didn't need surgery. Dawn reports there are a lot of other cats in town that are ear tipped. So if you see a cat with an ear tip outside, that means it's already been neutered. And we're going to look forward to having Dawn on a show in the future. This is a really good program. We think you're going to find it informative. I live in a house where Janice rescues cats, so can really appreciate this effort being made, because cats not reproducing at a wild rate as feral cats is important, because in town, any built-up town, cat living on the street probably lives 6 to 8 months tops. Not an easy life for them. So getting them fixed so they don't reproduce is a good thing. Let's go to the segment. Thank you, Amy, for putting this together. And then after the segment, we'll do a commercial break. We're going to come back with Irma with an extended community notes. We'll be right. Enjoy the segment, and we'll be right back.
I'm actually with A Voice for Paws, but there's many organizations helping out with this project. People for Animals in Clayton is the place that we're having the surgery done. And then there's a laundry list of other people who are coming volunteering their time with other rescues that are going to help trap all the cats here. TNR stands for Trap-neuter-return. A newer version is called TNVR, which stands for Trap-neuter-vaccinate-return. That is actually more accurate.
Come on, back it up.
I have been in contact with numerous feeders in the Paulsboro area, and what I like to do is before we start trapping, I go visit each and one of these feeders. I see where they feed, what time they feed, and examine the surroundings. So when we come back and trap for real, we'll have a better perspective on what's going on. We'll have better luck getting the cats. So today was a meet and greet with about 18 different feeders. All these cats are already cared for because it's the feeders I'm talking with, and they're the ones that provide the food and most times the shelter too. So they're already cared for. They go back to the same exact spot where they were trapped, so they know where they are, and the feeders will be looking for them. These cats all need to come back because they in a way, they're part of the ecosystem. If I took all of these cats out, it will create a vacuum effect. And what will happen is if those cats are gone, more cats will move in and use the resources those cats were once using. They won't be neutered. They'll have more kittens and we'll have to start all over again. That's why the whole years-old practice of trap and take out hasn't worked, because they just keep on replenishing. If we put them back, they're all vaccinated, they're all neutered, they won't have kittens, their behaviors get better, which is a huge deal, and they gradually die off through attrition over the years. When they're neutered, those hormones come out of their system, so the males will stop fighting, the females will stop yowling, the spraying will stop, which is a big deal because people don't like the smell of the cat urine. I don't blame them. The bad behaviors will cease because no more kittens, no more mating, no more fighting, no more yowling, no more spraying will happen after they come back. I trapped my first cats when I was living in New York back in 1999 and 2000. I've traveled a lot for my job. I've lived in Maryland, in St. Louis, Florida, New York, and I've done, it's been many years. It's been over 20 years. I see the shelters and how the shelters fill up, and trap-neuter-return of feral cats is the best way to have cats from enter the shelter because they're never born. Sometimes cats come from outside and they were left there by their owners and they can make a good house pet, but a lot of the cats I trap are feral and they were born outside. They've lived outside for most of their lives. They're doing just fine with the shelters and food people give them, so they're better off staying where they are. Plus, if I take them out, I'm contributing to the vacuum effect. I mean, if a cat is crazy, overly friendly in the trap, wanted to be pet and all that, that's a friendly cat. If a cat looks healthy, it goes back, especially because a lot of times people let their cats out and they're not neutered. So if I take that cat away and adopt it to somebody else, then that person may just go out and get another unneutered cat. So I'm better off just putting that cat back, let it go home, and then they'll let it out and it's not going to reproduce. The ear tip is actually the very top part of the left ear is cut off while they're under sedation so they don't feel a thing. And then when they come back, it'll be noted, like if the cat gets into a trap and it's ear tipped, whoever traps that cat knows that cat is being cared for. They can release it knowing it's being cared for and won't have any kittens. The shelter doesn't want them, they have too many. But if you're worried that we're up to something sinister, I'm not going to go through all this work for something sinister and have my face out here and be doing all this and put my name on this and have these groups on this. I mean, there's too much at risk. The ordinance generally is helping to provide some protection for people and the cats. What the ordinance is going to make people do, like feeders do, is get the cats fixed. Because with this ordinance, if you're feeding cats and you don't have them fixed, you are now breaking the law. And also, if you are feeding cats and they are fixed and those cats are ear-tipped and they get caught by animal control, they can be released because they will be ear-tipped. And unless that cat is injured or providing some kind of real problem, they'll take it in and they'll start making phone calls to whoever the sponsor for that colony is. And that's a whole other detailed process where you'll get a phone call if they get one of your cats. So, no, these cats will all be fixed. They're going to come back neutered and vaccinated, and things will just calm down a whole lot.
Life is a journey that we travel with a lot of uncertainty. When your family is faced with change and you're in need of understanding, direction, honesty, and professionalism, we at the Landolfi Funeral Home have a tradition of assisting you with all of your needs in any way that we can. We offer many affordable funeral services. Please feel free to call us with any questions you may have or visit us at www.landolfifuneralhome.com.
Rizzo Family Chiropractic Center in Gibbstown offers pain relief with a difference. Using specific chiropractic adjustments, Rizzo Family Chiropractic will get to the root of your problem quickly. Bring your headaches, neck, back, joint, or limb pain to Dr. Karen Rizzo. If you have recurring pain, chiropractic can help. Rizzo Family Chiropractic can relieve many sources of pain without extended treatment and ongoing therapy. Give your family the gift of caring professional pain relief with a difference. Rizzo Family Chiropractic.
Come on down Route 55 to the Millville Airport. Visit Smith & Jackson Military Antiques and Firearms, a gun shop with a woman's touch. Buying, selling, and trading firearms and military items, especially seeking World War II, German, Japanese, and American items. Buying single items or entire collections. That's Smith & Jackson Military Antiques and Firearms at the Millville Airport, 21 Peterson Street, next to the Glasstown Brewing Company.
And welcome back. We hope you enjoyed the program up to this point, but we really only do the show for one reason, and that's for Irma's Community Notes. That's what people ask for. And so now it's time for Community Notes with Irma Stevenson. Irma, why don't you start? You've got a list to work from.
I certainly do have a list. Sorry we haven't been on. It's just been busy. And don't forget, wear your mask. It is so important. Of course, mine has Paulsboro. Happy birthdays to Carol King, Stacy Bailey, Frank Boucher, my one and only friend in West Deptford, Derek and Darren, the Horton twins, Gay Johnson, Amanda Colin, Mike Diamond, Mike Dombrowski, Tim Candle, Jimmy Rohn, Danielle Carter Green, Doris Wilkins, David Nickel, Jill Clay Grimes, Stacy Dombrowski Katowski, Nancy Fleming, Maddie Luckett, Tiffany O'Leary, Mary Chip Cipollini, Connor Dope, the Sheriff, Carmel Marina, Josh Carney, John Reed, Adrienne, and Antonia Chilla. The Chilla twins, we have twins today, 17. Also Anthony Monahan, Tara Battaglia Stahl, Tony Hillman, Tommy Hillman, Lisa and Garen Horton, Rich Costin Bader, one of my favorite guys, Terry Croce, Rich Risky, we all know Mr. Risky, Leslie Revin, Donna Fizzler, and our track coach, Yordi McCormick Gunther. Happy anniversaries to Maria, Elena, and Joe Duca, Paulette and Jimmy Funk, Mary and Jim Schmidt, Teresa and Teresa and Warren Sharper, Stacy and John Gotowski, Pat and Charles Marshall, Rhonda and Delance Braxton, Jennifer Maiden and Eric Singleton, Tim and Janet Marsh, Nicole and Robert Mazzola, and Sue and Shane Mitchell. Happy birthdays and happy anniversaries. And folks, it's sad news. For the first time in 30 years, we will not be having a 4th of July parade, but I have my costume for New Year's. So next year, no more virus. So it's going to be a hot one tomorrow. And also, don't forget, for church services in St. Paul's Methodist Church, the church on the corner, will not be having open church until September. But they do live stream on Facebook on Sundays at 10 a.m. So please, if you want church services, they're always glad to have you on. And don't forget you wear your mask. It is so important. Let's beat this virus.
Just a reminder on the mask stuff is really important. You mentioned St. Paul's Church. We've got footage on Memorial Day weekend because we've been holding some of this stuff back. Right. Actually, myself, Steve, and Mark working in the studio, there was a loud bang. Turned out that the car heading from Paulsboro into Gibbstown decided not to be on the road, took out a light in front of Spartan Planning, took out the traffic lights, ran directly into St. Paul's Church and did a lot of damage to the digital sign that they have there, pushed that back a bit, pushed the flagpole back, ended up on the other side of the sign. Now, fortunately, the driver wasn't hurt, and interestingly, the driver did not realize he was in an accident.
Yeah.
So, property can be fixed. I had no idea what that person was thinking, but in talking to people, apparently he was at a high rate of speed coming down Broad Street heading towards West Effort. And of course, at that point, traffic lights made no difference. But thank God it wasn't a busier time because he would have done damage, not just to himself as he did into the property, but it would have easily taken someone out. He didn't get hurt. Sign got banged up. So I hope the church has insurance.
Yes, I think we do. And we forgave him. He came in and said he was very sorry. And Pastor Corso and I said, of course, we forgive you. Just be careful next time.
I didn't realize he made it back to the church. That is a wonderful thing to hear. That they came back.
Yes. Yeah, he did have a guardian angel with him.
He had more than a guardian angel because he must have. I don't even know at the end he was really driving the car. Someone else had. When I say someone else, because he was out of control. And thank God he didn't have serious injury. Also got some footage quite by accident. Didn't know it was happening. We had to run to the post office. Our friends from the Glorious Light Ministry. And, those people, you mentioned us not having the parade. Gary and I talked about that. The Glorious Light Ministries always puts on a big presentation at our 4th of July parade. That won't happen. But here are those dedicated members in the parking lot that sits next to the post office towards the municipal building, giving out food. And with the footage that Amy's going to run now, we got a little bit of audio with it. But they're just wonderful people, unheralded, not asking for a spotlight, just doing a very nice thing for people. Let's look at that footage.
There's fresh produce, there's cereal, there's pancake mix, there's tuna, some breakfast items, spaghetti, pasta, spaghetti sauce. Enough to make like 3 meals, I
was going to say, so a family can get a few meals out of that bag.
Definitely.
And this is the 3rd time that the church has done this?
No, we do this at least three out of...
We were out here last week, but we served hot meals last week. We're going to be out here next week again doing sandwiches next week. This weekend, because it's Father's Day weekend, we're doing like the groceries, so they can go home and have a meal.
Right.
But we're here like twice a month, 3 times a month, some months.
And Irma, as we come back, I'm telling you, I know St. Paul's does similar food giveaways on a regular basis as well. We just can't thank these people enough for helping out because people have gotten a little better on unemployment when they can get to it, and the unemployment people are catching up. But this is still an unsettled, very difficult time on people. So this kinds of gestures, this work being done by these groups, it's a big deal.
I know St. Paul's is usually over 50 bags each time, John. They're there.
And I think if I remember, not having the footage in front of me, they were talking about serving about 80 people 2-3 times a month, which is wonderful.
Right. Yes, they did.
Irma, I think that's going to about do it, by the way. So that was a long show. Gary's segment, very informative.
Well, we need to keep the people town informed. We don't know about the schools yet. They're working on it with some guidance from the state, John. I know Dr. Quinn, they're working on it. They have stack of paperwork. So let's just keep our prayers going, and we just keep praying and say, hey, please, and wear your mask, please.
And Irma, I'm drinking iced tea, not coffee today. So
nobody's there for.
Yeah, I was going to tell you that tells you the world has changed a little bit. So as you wrapped up, let's thank Amy Cook, Fred Buchter, both behind the camera and putting the show together, and also picking up interviews for us. Bill Crane, our producer, couldn't be with us today. Irma,
okay. See you on Broad Street, and God bless America.
That's about going to do it. Until next time.
Mm-hmm.